There's another one back here in case. Women's, if you go around this way, there's women's bathrooms on this side and men's bathrooms on this side, but it's one long hallway, so it all connects. No, the microphone is not broken. It's for our folks on Zoom who may be joining that's not connected to speakers. So to kick us off tonight, I figured I was trying to think of something to talk about. And I was like, well, why not give a little Toastmasters history? So Toastmasters actually began as a series of speaking clubs organized by Ralph C. Smedley during his time working with the YMCA, which is abbreviated for the Young Men's Christian Association in Bloomington, Illinois. And as a director of education at the YMCA, he saw a need for the men in the community to learn how to speak, conduct meetings, plan programs, and work on committees, and he wanted to help them. So the first unofficial Toastmasters meeting was held on March 24th, 1905 in Bloomington, Illinois. Well, he actually got promoted to Santa Ana, California, and while out there, he started up a new club. And in 1924, the Santa Ana Club was born. Well, then he wanted to grow it into an international club. So Santa Ana, California Club actually became club number 1 in Toastmasters International. That's when Toastmasters International was born. And then by 1930, we had over 30 Toastmasters clubs, including one in British Columbia, Canada, which was our first international club. And then in 1970, Toastmasters International admitted its first female member, Helen Blankard, but she went under the name of Homer Blankard. And in 1973, Toastmasters began officially admitting women. And in 1985, Helen became Toastmasters' first female international president. Fast forward to today, there are over 14,700 Toastmasters clubs in 144 countries. There are over 280,000 members. And so for our new guest tonight, will you be the next member? Only time will tell. So with that, I will turn it over to our presiding officer, our club president. Please help me welcome Dr. Eric Laxer.
Thank you, Cameron. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests. We are delighted that all of you have joined us here this evening. We do have a lot of guests, and we particularly enjoy having guests who can come and see what it's like to be at a Toastmasters meeting. Just a comment about that, we consider ourselves a group that welcomes everybody, and we try to give everybody who comes to our meetings an opportunity to at least stand up and say a few words, whether it's just to introduce yourself as a guest or to participate in some of our activities like table topics. I'll be right back. Which you'll see in a couple of minutes. So our normal custom is to give our guests an opportunity to introduce themselves and then introduce the Toastmaster. However, our Toastmaster of the day today is also our VP of membership, and so that's his role. So I'm going to change the order a little bit, and I'm going to introduce our Toastmaster, Colin, who has been with our club for a few years. He was our club secretary last year. This year, he is our VP of membership. When I think of words that describe Colin, ones that come to mind are fun, jovial, energetic, convincing, and many others, and they're all very, very positive. His theme today is Nature's Candy. Please join me in welcoming Colin as our Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Eric. Those very kind words, not deserving of them. You spoil me, sir. Good evening, Queen City. Let's try that one more time. Good evening, Queen City Toastmasters. All right, that's a little bit better. That's not a lot better, but that's a little bit better. So great to see so many smiling faces here at the Vine and online. We're going to kick off our meeting tonight, as we always do, by allowing our guests to introduce themselves. When I bring the mic around, please share your name. Also, please share what brought you here tonight, if that's something you're comfortable doing. And we'll kick off right over here.
Hey, my name is Lewis. I'm new to Charlotte, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to network, just coming to Toastmasters. I'm also interested in kind of getting better at small talk and presentation skills.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mitch, and I'm attending tonight because at my internship, I've been doing Toastmasters events virtually, and I figured I would find one here in Charleston to check out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. I didn't realize that we had somehow transported to South Carolina, but here we are in Charleston.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
That's where I moved from.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camila Castro. I'm from Peru. Now I'm member of Valentine Toastmasters. I'm here to discover new place and meet new people and still working on my public speaking skills. Nice to meet you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karen Chaco, and I'm just visiting Toastmasters for the first time. I have a sister and a friend who have been recommending it to me for years, so I just came along.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, I'm Raja Chaco, and this is my second visit to a Toastmasters ever. And I guess I'm here because I'd like to learn to speak better. And I had a friend who said, this is always a sales job. Everything you do is a sales job, and this might be one way to do that. So.
What's up, guys? My name's Martin. I'm fairly new. It's like my 5th or 6th meeting, fairly new to Charlotte. And I do this to improve my communication skills and just to better connect with people. And I also work in sales, so it kind of goes hand in hand. So yeah, thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian. I'm a third-time guest, and hopefully third time's a charm to join. But just here to improve group conversation skills.
Hi, I'm Dana Robinson. This is my first time at this meeting and with this group, and I'm looking to get ready for a couple of speeches that I have to give at work and some continuing education classes that I have to start giving as well. So just hoping to build confidence and get more comfortable.
Are you a member?
I'm supposed to be a member, but I don't see Jamie here. So that's probably why I didn't see my badge, but I'm officially a member of this club now. Yes, my name's Carissa. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Sayak and I'm visiting this club for the first time, but I have been to Toastmasters before. I moved to Charlotte and this is my first in-person meeting after a long time, so looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, and then we have 2 guests joining us online. Is that correct? Oh, that's right. That's right. Apologies, Carla. And then we've got one more guest online. Would you please introduce? Wait. Is it Jackie? Yeah,
Hi.
yeah. All right. All right. You had me fooled there with the camera off, but as you were, as you were, you can turn it off if you like.
No,
So to our guests who joined after some brief introductory notes, just keep in mind this microphone is not real. It's just so the folks online can hear us. I guess not real in the sense that it's not projecting sound from these speakers, but we have to be mindful of speaking into it so those who are online can hear us. We've also got a pretty loud, seemingly old HVAC system in the back. So fill this room with your energy and charisma. That's my challenge to you tonight. All right. Confession time. I have a sweet tooth. I have a big, big sweet tooth. Does anyone else? All right, that's a good number. That's a good number. Yeah, mine is a problem. I struggle with self-control when it comes to sweets. I'm a candy man, muffin man, cake man, cookie man, and pie man. But perhaps above all, I'm a fruit man. Nature's candies. And I am always packing. Don't ask me if this thing is registered. Seriously, though, is there anything more refreshing than biting into a big slice of juicy watermelon or a peach on a hot summer's day? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, unless we're talking about a peach or watermelon daiquiri. Now that might also work. But fruits are wonderful. There are thousands of varieties of fruits. There's thousands of varieties of bananas. They're endless. There's fruits that are year-round fruits. There are seasonal fruits. There are fruits that are unique to different geographies and regions around the country. There is a whole world of fruits to explore. And tonight, we are going to explore them. So at each table, you should see a half sheet of paper. On that paper, there's a blank that says team name, and then there's 9 numbered spaces. Now, to our guests online and to our Sergeant at Arms, Cameron, you all will be on a team and enter your answers into a chat. Those of you at the tables, look to the person to your left, look at the person to your right. You are also at a team with the individuals around your table. We're doing fruit trivia tonight, people. Fruitopia. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. There are no prizes, just honor and bragging rights in this contest. But throughout tonight's meeting, I'm going to sprinkle in some fruit-related trivia questions. You're going to answer them in collaboration with your teammates at your table around you. Googlers will be summarily executed on the spot with no due process. Eric, that's permissible, right? All right. All right, we can tone that down. You'll just be banned from the club. I think that's a fair outcome. Yes? No? All right, well, you'll just be reprimanded harshly, but no Googling. This is an honor sport. We're going to use an honor code. So to those of you who have not been here before, Toastmasters meetings are like a 3-course meal. There's kind of an appetizer, open bar, cocktail weenie situation right now. That's what we're in right now, just kind of teeing up the meeting. Then we're going to move into our main course, and our main course consists of prepared speeches and impromptu speeches. So prepared speeches, stuff that's prepared in advance, as the name would imply. Impromptu speeches, where volunteers can stand up and give an unprepared speech. Then we'll move into our evaluation, which is really the jewel of Toastmasters. It's like the dessert. And of course, dessert tonight is fruit salad or fruit cake, anything involving fruit. So that's where we're headed. And to kick off our meeting, I need to bring up a couple co-conspirators who are going to help us shuffle this along. And first off, I'm looking around the room. I'm looking online. I do not see our word doctor tonight. Yasmin, the social media queen, Rigo. Alan. All right. So Alan is going to stand in for Yasmin as our grammarian tonight. Grammarian is a super important role in any Toastmasters meeting. Alan, why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Thanks, David. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Apparently, I'm the grammarian tonight. So my job as the grammarian is to make sure that everyone here talks real good and stuff. So what I'm going to do tonight is keep track of uses of, or hopefully lack thereof, any filler words. Some of the most common ones that are used in a Toastmasters meeting include so, like, and so on. So I'll keep track of all of that throughout the meeting. And then if I hear any clever expressions of vocabulary or any clever phrases, then I'll share those as well throughout the meeting. And then with every grammarian, there's a word of the day, which I did not think of since I didn't know I'd be doing this role. So what role can I think of off the top of my head that would somewhat go with our theme tonight? There we go. There we go. So we'll just use the word ripe, R-I-P-E, which I guess means fresh and ready to eat. Is that right? Okay. I can't Google it since you made that rule up. So, all right. So see how many times you can work the word ripe into your speech, and I'll give my report later. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. And liberal uses of the word ripe will be welcome tonight because we didn't present a formal definition. Normally, our grammarian presents a definition associated with the word of the day, challenges you all to fit that word into your speaking somewhere. Now, I owe an especially large apology to Wild Bill Fountain. I skipped a very important role to kick off our typical meetings, which is that of our inspirational speaker. So Bill is serving as our inspiration sensation tonight. He's going to get the mood just right. Bill, take us away.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I'm Bill Fountain. For about the past 15 years, I have been concerned about helping children. And I did this as a teacher, as a volunteer pilot, and also kind of monitoring what's going on with the CMS. And I've read and witnessed a rise in depression among our middle and high school students. Now, according to Columbia University, there has been a rise in depression, but more rapidly, and it's kind of strange about this, more rapidly among the youngest and the oldest of people, of the age groups, of whites, and of the lowest and of the highest income, which was a kind of a surprise to me. And this rise in depression has also been associated with what they also witnessed was a rise in the number of drug use and in the, I guess they call it overdose of drugs, the death, and then suicide. So why is this increase? What's going on? Well, we know that depression can result from a lot of different things. You know, for instance, like social pressure, or as I mentioned right here about social pressures, or your family separations could be some of those consequences. But they were also found that the victim mentality is also a contributor to that, and they share actually a little bit of the same results. In other words, of hopelessness and lack of self-esteem, which leads people to some of those things I talked about earlier about the possibility of drug overdose and et cetera. So we also learned too is that while the depression can cause from the different type of things, it is still generally considered a mental illness, whereas I guess you would call it the victim mentality is a learned behavior. So how do we deal with this? Well, according to the Mayo Clinic, is that by embracing forgiveness, you're embracing peace and hope. And with that, that's going to give you a lot better situation. Also, they found is that with that improvement in the way of that response, that people are going to flourish with that. They've also found that it takes though one important thing to embrace this, and I guess forgiveness, is that what's going to happen with that is that they're going to find that people are actually going to grow in both personal, emotional, and in spiritual well-being with this forgiveness. However, there's something that's very difficult to do, and that's to make an intentional decision to step away from resentment and anger. Also, the magazines of psychiatry of today and the Scientific America have always also been saying that we should step away from the victimization mindset and get away from that and work on to our, I guess we call self-accountability. So in the summary is that forgiveness offers us an awful lot of benefits, and particularly hope and peace. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Apologies again for forgetting you, Bill. Normally that's how we start, and then we introduce the grammarian. So the yin to the grammarian yang is also a very important role, and that is that of the timer. So obviously, everyone here has come to Toastmasters to become better speakers. Personally, I find that I'm generally less self-aware of my word choice, my use of filler words. That's why it's great to have a grammarian to hold me to account, to make me aware of when I'm using poorly constructed language that might inhibit your understanding of what I'm trying to say. Similarly, it's difficult to keep track of time when you're standing and speaking in front of people. And that's why we've got a very important role tonight. It's being performed by our favorite Duke Energy employee, Kendall, the power broker, Rackley, who's going to come up here and tell us how he's counting the minutes and seconds for us. Kendall.
Thank you, Colin. Good evening, Toastmasters and honored guests. This is my second role tonight, or my second role being in Toastmasters. My first time was a grammarian, which was fun. Now I am the timer. So as a timer, we're gonna be keeping track of everybody's, you guessed it, time. We're going to track how long people are spending on the table topics, how long people are spending on the prepared speeches, and then the reviews after. So the amount of time for the prepared speeches is 5 to 7 minutes. The time for the table topics is 1 to 2 minutes, and the evaluation speeches are 2 to 3 minutes. I'll also be signaling whenever your speech is ripe for a conclusion. So at 5 minutes for the prepared speeches, I'm going to flash up green. At 6 minutes, I'm going to flash yellow. And then at 7 minutes, I'll flash red. And similarly for the table topics, 1 minute, 1.5 minute, and 2 minutes. And then for the evaluation speeches, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and 3 minutes. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kendall. So the grammarian and the timer. Those are my two partners tonight, providing a valuable service to our club. So thank you both very much for filling these roles tonight. All right, cocktail hour is over. The appetizers are going away. Moving into the main course, the prepared speeches. Can you feel it? I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. That's why we come here tonight, the prepared speeches. But the energy is right. Thank you, Cameron. Snaps for Cameron. But before we get to our prepared speech tonight, Dr. Eric Laxer, our handsome club president with the philosopher's beard, we're going to kick off the first round of trivia. So I hope you were able to put a team name on your little answer sheet at each table. Again, Cameron, Carla, and Jackie, please send your answers to the club view chat. Well, no, keep the chat closed. All right, I didn't really think that piece through. All right. Okay, so take 30 seconds, finalize your name, and choose a scribe. Cameron, do we have an alternative? I think that's too small for everyone to see from the Vine camera. I think that's pretty small for everyone to see. Can anyone see what's in the chat online? All right. I think fear of any wandering eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Spell your answers backwards. Throw everyone off the set. All right. Are we ready? First question. First annual Queen City Toastmasters Fruitopia contest. The most widely purchased fruit among U.S. consumers is the most widely purchased fruit. No, we're not answering out loud. We're writing it down on that paper, Andrea. It is not multiple choice. The most widely purchased fruit among U.S. consumers is All right. I see some heads picking up. Seems like we're ready to move on. Question number 2. We're going to take these in 3 question chunks tonight. Question number 2. Which popular fruit came to the U.S. with the Pilgrims in the 1600s? So this is a fruit that was not originally native to the Americas. Which popular fruit came with the Pilgrims to the U.S. on one of those glorious wooden ships? All right, it looks like I still see some deliberation going on in the back of the room. All right, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. All right, question number 3, last question for now. Question number 3. What fruit is the only fruit to have its seeds on the outside of the fruit? What fruit is the only fruit whose seeds are on the outside? All right. So I'll let you digest those 3. We're going to move on to our prepared speech of the evening, delivered, as mentioned previously, by our club president, a Toastmaster of unmatched pedigree and experience, Dr. Eric Laxer. Let's give it up for Eric.
Got my water guy over here. We got our electrical guy over here. We're just missing the cable guy. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I am giving a speech to you tonight that is part of my Presentation Mastery Level 4 project called Managing Projects Successfully. And this relates to planning and organizing for the District 37 speech contest in my role as Chief District Judge. So here we go. A little over a year ago, I got a message from David that he submitted my name as possible Chief District Judge. Well, for those of you who don't know, Toastmasters holds speech contests every year. They start at the club level, and then they advance through the area, division, and district levels, and they culminate once a year with Toastmasters International World Championship of Public Speaking. Each district has a chief judge, and the chief judge has 3 roles. Number 1 is to make sure all the contests in your district have trained and qualified judges. Number 2, that the contests are done fairly and the rules are followed. And number 3, the chief district judge serves as the chief judge at your district's annual meeting where you declare the winner of your district's speech contest. I told David that I was interested, and a few days later, I received a few Zoom calls from some of the people in leadership positions in our district, and they explained to me what was expected and what the responsibilities were of the district chief judge. It was after one of those conversations that I started to feel a lot overwhelmed. Our district has 82 clubs. Each club usually holds 3 speech contests, a speech, an evaluation, and table topics. That's 246 contests at the club level alone. We have 21 areas in our district. That's 63 more speech contests. We have 5 divisions. That's 15 more speech contests. And then we have one big district speech contest, as I mentioned, at our annual conference. And I thought to myself, wow, do I really want to do this? So I started to think of reasons to say no. And I started coming up with excuses. I'm way too busy at work. I couldn't possibly start organizing district judge things, except I had retired about 5 months earlier, so that excuse wasn't there. Wait a second, I know my daughter's getting married this year. There's a ton of stuff to organize for her wedding, except that my wife and daughter were doing all the organizing. I was really just the menu taster. So I realized that those excuses were not going to fly. Plus, I'd already said yes. So I sat down and I did what most people would do when they're facing a really big undertaking. I started making a plan. And there are 3 important steps that I identified that I'm going to share with you. The first was I contacted the last 2 chief judges in our district. I asked them what they did to make their year successful. They were very generous and helpful with the information, and they served as outstanding resources for me over this journey. The second was I learned the Toastmasters contest rulebook. This is published every year by Toastmasters. It's updated regularly, and you have to follow the rules for every single contest. And the role of the chief judge is to know the rulebook. So I read it, I highlighted it, I took notes, I studied it, and I did that again, again, and again, till I felt comfortable with the rulebook. The third thing that I did was I got to know as many people in my district who are involved in speech contests as I possibly could. And many of the contests were on Zoom. So I was able to not only attend the contests, but sign myself up either as judge or chief judge for a lot of those contests. And at the beginning of contest season, when there are a lot of clubs holding contests, I was working in 2 to 3 contests per week, including Saturday morning and even one on Sunday afternoon. Doing all of these things really allowed me to grow into the role while I was performing the role, which really was fantastic. So here are my 3 big takeaways after having completed this experience this past year. The first is we all know we face big challenges. They can be overwhelming. They can be intimidating. But we also know that most of us are far more capable of doing things than we give ourselves credit for. And if you're not going to take on some of these overwhelming challenges, you lose opportunities to grow. My second takeaway is that Toastmasters attracts some of the brightest and most giving people I've ever worked with. Everyone I encountered was willing to be helpful and give to me of their time and their expertise. And what was interesting was the diversity of the people that I met was incredible. I met some people who were like me in Toastmasters for 1 to 2 years. I met other people who had been in Toastmasters much longer, 10 years. I met 2 people who were in Toastmasters for over 25 years. I met people who were in different Toastmasters clubs. I met married couples who were in Toastmasters together, and they grew in Toastmasters together. It was an amazing experience, especially when members were so willing to share with me how Toastmasters affected their journey in life, especially their career pathways, and some people starting their own businesses. My third takeaway is that Toastmasters offers us so many other learning opportunities outside of our club that we don't really, but that we should take advantage of. For example, at the district conference, which I attended in May, there were keynote speakers, there were breakout sessions, there was networking. Just to give you some examples of some of the breakout sessions that I went to, we learned about how to advance your career. We learned how to start and grow a podcast. We learned how to increase our professionalism and interact with people in a very formal environment. People spoke about leadership skills, becoming an entrepreneur, It was unbelievable. And one of the most amazing things to me was that the people giving these sessions mostly were Toastmasters. And if they weren't, then they were leaders in their field. In summary, this was a challenging and an amazing experience. And I hope all of you, my present and my future fellow club members, continue to get as much from this organization as I continue to get, to accept challenges that might seem overwhelming, to step into spaces that might seem scary, not to be afraid to fail, and to trust those people around you. Because I know by doing that, we can all succeed. And it's important to know that we can all get by with a little or sometimes a lot of help from our friends. Mr. Toastmaster.
A masterclass of a speech, Dr. Eric. The cadence, the comfort, the conversational tone, the calm body language. I mean, those are the things that we come here to work on. Those are the things that will be touched on in speech evaluations. Dr. Eric, if I may ask, would the year one Toastmaster version of yourself have delivered such a classically handsome speech? Never. Right. Where else can you come work on your verbal fitness, your spoken word agility, right? This is a gym, my friends. Right? This is a running club for our mouths. You can't find it anywhere else. And yes, does it cost money to join this club? Yeah, but it's not so much. People here don't get paid. You know, all of the passion that people are speaking about Toastmasters with, it's coming from the mouths of volunteers. You know, there's no one here that's profiting on it. There's no snake oil sales involved in Toastmasters. So if you've been coming for a little while, if this is something that you think is of interest to you, join, push yourself, grow. This is an organization ripe with opportunities, as Dr. Eric spoke about in his speech, this notion that not only is there a club here in this particular part of Charlotte, there are dozens of other clubs in Charlotte, hundreds in North Carolina, thousands in the United States, and opportunities permeate all of those that are within your reach. So just a little soft sell from your vice president of membership here tonight. And I apologize, Dr. Eric, I neglected to introduce the title of your speech. I'm just not following decorum for my role whatsoever tonight. But if you heard his last line, that was the title of his speech. I got by with a lot of help from my friends. So excellent job, sir. Questions 4 to 6 of this fruit trivia extravaganza. Buckle up, focus up, let's roll. 50% of the world's mangoes come from which country? 50% of the world's mangoes come from which country? I will give you a hint. It is in the Eastern Hemisphere. Eastern Hemisphere. Really narrowed it down for you, huh? So 50% of mangoes, 50% of the global production of mangoes comes from which country? And the hint was it's in the Eastern Hemisphere. All right, 10 more seconds, 10 more seconds. All right, question number 5. Question number 5. So normally we think about fruits as life-giving, nourishing, packed with vitamins and all the good things that we need to live healthy lives that are rich in vitality. But we're going to take this one and we're going to flip it on its head a little bit. So falling coconuts kill blank number of people on average each year. Falling coconuts kill blank number of people on average each year. The 2 teams that guess closest to this figure will get a point. And your hint is that the number of people killed by falling coconuts on average every year is roughly 10 times the number of people killed by sharks every year. So 10 times more people get killed by falling coconuts than sharks. How many do you think that is? Ten more seconds. 10 more seconds. Fruit is a serious business, Andrea. That's why we're taking this trivia thing seriously. All right. Study of fruit is called pomology. You should hit the books. All right, question number 6. Last question in this bunch. The water from which fruit can be a substitute for blood plasma in an emergency situation? The water from which fruit can be a substitute from blood plasma in an emergency situation? As a hint, this was done in remote tropical locations during World War II. The water from this fruit was used as blood plasma. Hello? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Kim, whose team are you on? Okay. Oh, the internet as well. Okay. Gotcha. All right, that's it for now. So we're going to continue on with the main course of tonight's meeting. We're going to round that out. If the prepared speeches were the surf, the table topics, the impromptu speeches are the turf. And to lead us through that portion of the meeting, I want to call up my man, Nick Bananas Foster.
Thank you, Colin. Good evening, Queen City Toastmasters and honored guests. Glad you could join us tonight, and it's great to see so many of you joining us. So this portion of the evening is our table topics, which is our impromptu speeches. It's a chance for anybody to come up and give a 1 to 2 minute speech. And typically, it's a very easy question and answer. I don't like to do things typically. So we're going to try something a little different tonight, and it can either go really well or it can crash and burn into the dirt. So we'll see how this goes. One of the things that I think makes a lot of people nervous about coming up for the table topics is what the question is going to be. Will I know the answer? So I wanted to remove that. And I also briefly looked at the rules for table topics, and it doesn't say it has to be a question. We're just looking for a prompt, something to engage you to talk about for a minute, minute and a half. So I decided, instead of just a question, my prompt is going to be an aroma. a variety of essential oils that I'm going to tell all of you the question up front to describe the scent and describe what it makes you think of or remember, because smell has a strong connection to our memory. The group of brain areas that are best known for processing emotions, learning, and memory also process odors. So when you smell something, your brain uses the same areas that it would use to process emotion and memories, and that makes it stick in our mind. So for those in the room, that'll be easy. For those on Zoom, if you'd like to participate, there are some traditional questions and answers that we can provide because I don't think the SmellX 2000 is online tonight. So starting with a Toastmaster member, who would like to give this experiment the first shot? All right, Leon, 1 through 4.
I'll pick this one.
Give it a whiff and describe the scent and describe what it makes you think of or remember.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests. Now, when I smell the scent here, I first will describe it to you. It has a very floral scent to it, a slight herbalness to it, and to be quite frankly, it reminds me of lotion. And a particular lotion, in fact, it actually took me back to a specific place in my memory of spending time with my grandma, who is no longer with us, but she was actually from Panama. For those that don't know where Panama is, it sits right between Costa Rica and Colombia. It's a very tiny, slim nation. Many might know it as the Panama Canal. And she lived in a city called Chorrera. It's a countryside of Panama. And I remember every time when she would get out the shower, she would put these perfumes on and these lotions that remind me very much of this smell here. And even though I was born here in the United States, the smell that came from those perfumes very much made me feel that even though I wasn't born here and I'm half Panamanian, but yet this place still had a piece of my heart because it had my family there. And one of the things that I most take away from this smell is the kindness and also her spirituality and faith in the Most High. And I remember one of the last things that she afforded me before she passed, but she gave me a Bible verse that I keep with me in my wallet to this day that reminds me that there are always higher powers and higher things that sometimes we can't always explain, but they're there for you. They're there promoting you. They're there to support you in all your dreams and endeavors. And they're there to make sure that you find all the happiness and joy that your mind and heart could ever perceive in this lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. And that's how it's done. Great job. And the scent name was Lotus Blossom. So very floral scent. All right. I'd like to go ahead and open up to all guests, all members. Do we have a second volunteer to undergo this experiment? All right. 3 to choose from.
The first one.
All right. Go ahead and open it up. And describe the scent and describe what it makes you think or any memories that it brings.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests. My name is Camila. Wow. It's a smooth and herbal sense. It makes me remember my grandma. When I used to live with her, yeah, she always wear Heno de Pravia. It's the name in Spanish, perfume in Peru. It's really common and all of the grannies likes buying. And I remember when my grandma, when I was 5 years old, she gave me as a gift a big bottle of Heno de Pravia, and I'm still having it in my house in Peru because it's something that makes me remember about her. And I'm still waiting for my mom that she's gonna send me to America because I don't know where I'm gonna see my grandma again. So it's something that makes me feel nostalgic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I believe we have time for one more. All right. Do we have any more volunteers? Well, let me unveil this one was Basil. What was that, Cameron? No. All right, we got plenty of guests. Anybody else want to take a shot tonight? All right, we got one more. Sayak? All right, two to choose from. So once you get a good whiff, describe it. Describe what it makes you think of, or any memories that it may bring to mind.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for the scent. It's a very familiar scent. I think I have been in automobile industry for around 8 years now. And this reminds me of the paint that we put in the car. Whenever we enter that area where this kind of smell is there, it is always written, beware, wear face mask. So face mask during, everybody who used to wear face mask during COVID. For many, it was new. For me, it was not, because I was used to wearing those in my industry, specifically because of the smell. So I don't think I like the smell a lot. I try to be away from this kind of smell, but yeah, that's what it is reminding me now. Smell of paint when you apply to your car, not your car, like prime prime the body of the car, weld, lot of bad smell, bad noise with goggles and face mask. So yeah, that's what that smell is reminding me. Not a very happy smell for me, but still, thank you for this.
Thank you, Sack. I didn't think I put diesel oil in any of them. So this one was lang lang, which is actually a tropical flower from the Philippines. Do we have time for one more? All right. Well, I appreciate all those that participated. Thank you for coming up. And I think it was a success.
Thank you very much, Nick. Easily the most creative table topics I think I've seen in my time here at Queen City Toastmasters. I'm sorry to shortchange you. Perhaps this whole trivia bonanza has taken up a little bit more time than I expected, and I apologize if it's come at your expense. Can we please do a round two of this one sometime, Nick? Would love to do a round two of this. Hyper creative. Snaps. All right. So dinner's over. We're moving into dessert. But before we do that, we've got 3 more trivia questions to bang out. So let's get to work. Question number 7, true or false? In 1893, the Supreme Court ruled 9-0, so a 9-0 decision, a unanimous decision. Do I have that right, Dana? All right, good. We've got a resident lawyer here. In 1893, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that a tomato is a vegetable and not a fruit. True or false? So true or false? In 1893, the Supreme Court ruled that a tomato is a vegetable and not a fruit. It was 9-0 in favor of a tomato being a vegetable. So the highest court in our land, they said tomato is a vegetable. Full stop. Ten seconds. We have 10 seconds. All right, question number 8. Question number 8. The state of Maine is the single largest producer of which berry? And I'll give you a hint. It's a berry that you're more likely to eat during breakfast than meals later in the day. The state of Maine is the single largest producer of which berry? And hint, this is more commonly associated with breakfast. Final question. Final question. Question number 9. Watermelons are the official state vegetable of which state? So watermelon somehow, some way is both a fruit and a vegetable. And I guess, all fruits are technically vegetables, but not all vegetables are fruits. In this state, they already had a state fruit. So they took the watermelon, right? Let's make this the state vegetable. Which state is that? Which state is that? Who would do that? All right, 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. All right. If you don't have an answer down, put one down. Because after I introduce the next Toastmaster to come up and lead us through the dessert portion of the meeting, I'm going to walk around and I'm going to collect these answer sheets. I'm going to park it next to Cameron. I'm going to review the answers submitted online in the chat. We're going to figure out who our fruit kings and queens and royalty are. So next, I'd like to bring up a very seasoned and experienced Toastmaster who already has a nickname, so I can't give you a nickname tonight. She's going to lead us through perhaps the most important piece of our regular meetings, which is breaking it down. So she's kind of like the coroner. She's going to come here and deliver the autopsy report. I suspect the cause of death will be fruit overdose. Let's give it up for Andrea Chocolate Butterfly Williams.
Colin, for an enthralling theme for the night. I am your general evaluator. I get the opportunity to just let us know where we did good, where we did bad, where we can improve, and where we can go forward. And that is what we're going to do today. And we might not do it as fast as I just said it, but I'm going to call up one of my fellow general evaluators who will be evaluating our esteemed president, Eric Laxer. He will come up now. Toastmaster Cameron will come and give us his feedback on Mr. Laxer's speech.
Okay. All right. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I'm back. I get the esteemed duty to evaluate somebody who I consider better than myself when it comes to public speaking. So I don't know how this is going to go. but I was captured first by the title. I even wrote it down wrong because I was captured. Well, I wrote down, I get by with a little help from my friends. I thought about the song. So your title captured me because it was something, it was very relatable, very catchy. And his speech was ripe with good stuff. So you talked about, and you talked about a lot of stuff. So I was trying to write fast. So talked about a speech contest and getting asked by David, getting voluntold by David. He's never done that, has he, Alan? He's never voluntold anybody to do anything. I don't feel as bad for myself as I do you because I'm doing this role last minute, but at least I had 20 minutes ahead, heads up. You had 10 seconds. So anyway, you just had a very good description of what a speech contest was, which I like that because we have a lot of guests in here who don't know what that is. So you went through that very well, very good details on the speech contest, you know, the quantity of speech contests that we have in a year, the context, we have what is it, the table topic speech contests, we have humorous speech contests and other various forms of speech contests. So I kind of left it at that with your content because it was very, very well full of detail. So then I said, well, I'm just going to focus on what he's doing. So I looked at your eye movement and you moved around the room great. So if y'all watched him, you didn't like just stare at Leon, even though Leon's beautiful. He didn't just sit there and stare at him. He moved around and engaged everybody in the audience, which is a very good thing. Very something to work on if that's something you don't do. So good eye movement. You had good pauses, which is something else I look for because that's something I work on myself is make a point, let everybody absorb it for a second, like a strawberry does pesticide, and then go into your next point. You had some humor in there, talking about the excuses that trying to get out of it. You say, well, I can't make that excuse for I'm too busy at work because I just retired. Well, then I got my daughter's wedding coming up. And then you said, well, my wife and daughter are doing all that. I'm just the taste tester. So you threw a little humor in there, which I always appreciate. And then your hand gestures. I noticed how I forget what you were saying, but I remember you saying again and again and again. And so the hand was matching what you were saying, which always adds a little bit of flavor to a speech. Good hand gesture. And then you talked about how you prepared, you know, talking to different people that helps you prepare. You took on smaller roles to help you prepare. And then you offered us 3 big takeaways, which I tried to write fast again. So we're far more capable than we give ourselves credit for and to try uncomfortable things. And then you talked about how Toastmasters is a great place to network with others, to learn, and that Toastmasters also offers so many learning opportunities outside of the club. District meetings, career advancement, podcasts, entrepreneur. And I personally can speak to that because it's helped me in my career a lot. So I like that you had 3 takeaways and then you left us with the take action and trusting others and promoting Toastmasters. So the only things I really thought to work on, I would say take longer pauses for the evaluator trying to write, trying to keep up. I'm trying to teach myself shorthand over here. But there's a lot of good stuff in a short amount of time. You know, we talked about time, trying to cram a lot into a little. And I know I asked Dr. Eric before the meeting started, what are the things he likes to work on? Vocal variety. So just continue to work on that. And, you know, you can get loud if you need to, or you can get soft if you really want to pull the people in. So just maybe some vocal variety, throw that in there, get some range. And that's about all I have. Again, I'm evaluating somebody better than me. So anyway.
Thank you, Toastmaster Cameron, for that wonderful evaluation. So I'm going to call up my timer today for his report. Yeah, you. Come on.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. Everybody can hear me. So tonight was a speech ripe with creative ideas. I really liked the table topics and the smells. I think that was a really innovative take. So tonight, we had Eric's prepared speech that was 7 minutes and 50 seconds. We had the table topics. We had Leon. He hit it right at 2 minutes. That's pretty good timing. Camilla, you were at 57 seconds. Sayak, you were at 1 minute and 15 seconds. And Cameron, as the evaluator, you were at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And we can't do Colin, but if we did, I might have had to throw up a black card because he took up all our time tonight. But no, thank you.
And as you see at our Toastmasters Club, there is never a loss of jokes. We're always here to keep us all ripe. Okay, so I wanted to say for our meeting today, we started on time, which is always a pillar of Toastmasters. For those who are visitors, Toastmasters really values time and values your time. And that's why we try to keep everybody on time, because if you ever get called to do a speech, they give you a time period and they want you to stay within that period. And if you don't stay in that period, they may not call you back or you may not get another gig. So this is your place to practice staying on time and on task. Speaking of on time and on task, our theme for today, our Toastmaster today, Mr. Colin, that was fun. It was fun. It did take up some time. I would say we may want to make it less questions next time, so that the time will go by a little quicker, so that we don't run into that time constraint and we have more time for the table topics. But I enjoyed the fruitfulness and ripening of my mind in that sense. And I messed up for one thing. This thing was nature's fruit, and I was back there eating something that's based off of fruit, my favorite, lemon, but I was eating lemon cake. So yeah, so so I have that guilty pleasure as well, so I could relate. And I wanted to say thank you, Toastmaster Allen from Valentine, for stepping up. Like they said, in 10 seconds, you had a word. That's called I am always on task and ready. And remember, guys, when you have this mic, we had a real life example. One of our guests was saying she was here to prepare for a conference or a training, and I've been that trainer where someone's walking through, somebody's having a private conversation, and there's a lot of distractions, right? So today you have the opportunity to see how that worked. Good job, Bill, for staying on task. But remember, when you do hear other elevated voices, you may want to elevate your voice so they know maybe they need to quiet their voices down. And I just wanted to bring up one thing, running club for our miles. And he said this before, come get your reps. So I just want to remind all our visitors, here is where you can ripen your mind, where leaders are made. And I'm going to call up our grammarian, Toastmaster Allen, to round this general evaluation off.
Thank you. Well, as you can see, there was so much to write down, I ran out of space. Most of this is from Colin, but I'll get through it quickly. Let's see. The timer is the yang to the grammarian's yang. Kendall, the power broker, that was good. And then, of course, all the 4-course meal analogies with all the different segments of the meeting, that was good. No, not at all. Let's see. Eric, the philosopher's beard. Verbal fitness, spoken word agility, running club for our mouths. The general evaluation is like an autopsy. And something about a fruit overdose. I forget what that was about, but I got that too. And then I think the most clever one was Nick Bananas Foster. That made me laugh, like legitimately made me laugh. And then ripe was used, I counted 8 times. Colin used it only once, even though it was your word, but that's okay. Kendall and Cameron, you each used it twice. Andrea used it 3 times. And if there's anyone else I missed, I apologize. And then let's see, Eric, I liked how you used, well, you said you were just a menu taster for your daughter's wedding. That was clever. And then who sings the song I Get By with Little Help from My Friends? I was going to Google it, but we weren't allowed to. Oh, okay, of course. Thank you. And then let's see, Cameron, absorbing feedback like a strawberry absorbs pesticides. That was clever. And then Nick, you said smell X2000. And then actually, he didn't say this while he was up here. He said it while we were playing our game, but he said, I didn't realize my fruit knowledge was so poor. That was clever. And then the last sentiment, which I'll actually segue into another thing I wanted to share. Eric said that Toastmasters offers many learning opportunities outside of the club, which is 100% true. So I'll just now make my shameless area director plug quickly. I do plan on doing a speechathon for several clubs in the area, probably the next month or two. So it'll give a bunch of people chances to practice their speaking and evaluation skills. So we're actually having one of those for my club in a few weeks, but then I'll open it up to the rest of the area here soon. And everyone here will be invited to participate if you want. So I'll let David pass that feedback along once I've scheduled a date. And I believe my grammarian's report has now surpassed the time it takes to absorb all the flavor in Fruit Stripes gum. So Andrea, back to you. Oh, does she?
Excellent job as a standing grammarian. Thank you so much, Alan. Out of respect for everyone's time, we've got 1 minute left in our meeting. Normally we don't run over. Poor time management on my part. Blame it all on me, not the club. I'm going to rifle through this trivia here. First off, I want to give everyone kudos for some pretty creative names on short notice. We've got the Fruitopians. Where you at? All right, we got Bananarama. All right. Banana Splits. The Muttering Mangoes. All right. And we have CDK, which I guess also the online folks rolled into CDK. Is that correct? All right. Well, I could not decipher a lot of what was written in their chat. I didn't think through that they would have to actually communicate back and forth. It wasn't very clear what answers were what. So I apologize to Jackie and Carla. Question number 1, most widely purchased fruit among U.S. consumers is the banana. Now, question number 2, most popular, or which popular fruit came to the U.S. with the Pilgrims in the 1600s? That was the apple. The apple. The only fruit to have seeds on the outside is a strawberry. Falling coconuts kill blank people on average each year, 150. So only 15 people die on average from sharks every year. Yeah, very unfortunate if you're one of those 15. Really, really lost to the odds there. Question number 6, water from which fruit can be a substitute for blood plasma? I think everyone got this. Coconut, that's right. That's right. World War II, they did that. Remote Pacific Islands where people needed blood transfusions and plasma and whatnot. True or false? 1893, the Supreme Court ruled in a unanimous 9-0 decision that a tomato is a vegetable and not a fruit. Who said yes? Which group said yes? I didn't think I was going to come here and have to laugh at people today. But you're right. You're absolutely right. Everyone else is wrong. The Supreme Court did actually make that ruling. It was related to interstate commerce or tariffs or something. Somebody brought that suit to avoid paying higher tariffs on imports, I guess. But if you think the Supreme Court has lost its credibility today, they were ruling on fruit issues back in the 1800s. All right, question number 9. Maine is the single largest producer of which fruit? Blueberry. That's right. That's right. And finally, watermelons are the official state vegetable of Oklahoma. Oklahoma. What was the mango one? Oh, I skipped that. 50% of the world's mangoes come from which country? India. India. All right. So we have, drum roll, please. Bananarama with 5 points is our winner tonight. All right. So five out of nine. 5 out of 9. Not a math guy, but pretty sure that's an F in percentage terms. So let's hit the books. Let's learn a little bit more about fruits. All right. They're everywhere. They're in you. They're in me. Hopefully they're in you. I know they're in me. But thank you so much for coming out tonight. Hope you had a good time. I'm going to turn things back over to Dr. Eric to close us out in a very presidential manner.
Colin, thank you for that entertaining, educational, exceptional, ear-pleasing, eye-popping display of eloquent vocal excellence. One more round of applause for Colin. We're running late. We're going to take care of a few orders of business. And the first thing I want to do is ask our newest member, Carissa, to please come on up because you do get a ribbon. There you go. Use it well. Don't put it on your rearview mirror in your car. You won't see behind you. And we have a lot of guests here, but we really want to give our guests an opportunity to share some thoughts on this meeting. So even though we're running late, I'm going to ask Colin to take the mic around and hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Eric. We'll go in reverse order this time. Just any thoughts, feedback, criticism, if you have it. We certainly welcome that too.
Tonight was a lot of fun, and I could see myself becoming more comfortable in this atmosphere with speaking. And I think it's a good warm up to speaking in front of more, not necessarily hostile crowds, but crowds that are at least apathetic to whatever I'm probably going to have to say. So thanks.
I like the flow of the meeting, especially the trivia that was done by the Toastmasters. I've attended some meetings but never seen something like this, so I enjoyed that. Thank you.
I thought the creativity to the table topics was great, and just everybody's ability to just generate really good material right on the fly was really encouraging.
I'll stand up. I thought today was really fun, Colin. Great creativity. I thought the table, what's it called? The trivia was a very good way to keep everyone kind of involved. And honestly, I thought the time flew by great. Bill, I appreciate your speech. I think in today's world, I think it's a great message. So yeah, thank you guys.
I want to sniff the smells.
I thought you all did really well. It was encouraging to me to see that it's not so scary to get up in front of people. So I appreciate that perspective, and thank you for letting me come tonight.
Thank you for having me today. The atmosphere of this group is amazing. The Toastmaster, right? You did so great. I really admire your energy, and you're so funny, and that the organization that you did it, kudos, really. And the yeah. And also the table topics. Oh gosh, it was wonderful. And your inspirational story, I'm really involved in mental health, and it's something that I really enjoy in this meeting. And the group is amazing. Kudos for everyone, and it was nice to meet you.
So this has been a great experience tonight. Has exceeded my expectations. It was very entertaining, and I think very well done. And I look forward to next week. Thank you.
I like the opportunity to give speeches. I thought that was awesome. And then I like the variety of activities. Like, you did a good job being the MC. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Toastmaster Colin. One announcement before we sign off, and that is that whoever in our club goes home tonight and signs up for our next Toastmaster of the Day role first will receive the banana that Colin has been carrying around in his back pocket. We'll get you another one. You signed up already. All right. Well, if there is no other business from any of our club officers or members, I will now call this evening's meeting to a close, and I thank you all for coming.